Hi, I'm Aaron Wolf with the Strength and Style podcast, and on this episode, we're going to be talking about why motivation is absolute trash. Stay tuned. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I'm Aaron Wolf, founder of the Strength and Style podcast and also founder of the Atlas Menswear men's clothing company, clothing for muscular men. First things first on this episode, I'm trying different things with my camera. I'm filming with my iPhone. I don't have a fancy camera yet because I'm still trying to get the YouTube channel going. But when I film with the back camera on my phone, which is the what I assume is the nicer camera, the higher resolution, higher frame rate and everything, it's turned around so I can't see how it's framed. I've put a mirror behind it so I can see how it's framed and what I look like in the camera, but that just seems kind of ridiculous to me. So I'm using the front camera now, so the resolution probably is not going to be as high. I don't know if you'll even be able to tell on the YouTube video. But if there's anybody out there that has a YouTube channel that has any ideas on better ways to set up the iPhone, I know getting a better camera is the ultimate solution, but I'm not going to do that yet. I'm still with my phone. So I thought about filming on the front the camera of my iMac or my MacBook, but I think that camera is even a little bit lower resolution than the one on the front camera of the phone. So it is what it is. That's just know that I'm experimenting with trying to make this look and sound better on a low budget. So this is another video in the series of things that I learned while I was in sports and how those lessons relate to other areas in my life. I'm going to be talking about motivation in this episode. The reason I bring that up, the reason I'm doing that in this episode is I've heard a lot lately, and I don't know if it's just because I've been paying attention to different things and focusing on different things more, but I see a lot of people going on social media talking about trying to get motivated to do something. Most of it is trying to get motivated to either work out more, start working out, have a better diet. And people are talking about, I have trouble with motivation. I want to do it, but I just don't feel motivated. I don't feel motivated to get up and go to the gym. I don't feel motivated to not eat the donuts for breakfast and eat eggs instead. I see it over and over, and it frustrates me a little bit. And sometimes I jump in and give my 2 cents. I got to be careful because there's a lot of people that get offended. I don't know if it's the way that I come across. When it comes to fitness, that's the one thing that I don't really filter what I'm talking about. If I'm confident in what I'm saying and I think somebody else is full of shit, I'm going to call them out on it and we'll have the debate. Maybe I'm wrong, but we're not going to know until we have the debate. And if somebody else gets offended and they shut down, then we're not going to find out who's right or wrong. We're not going to grow. We're not going to learn anything. It's not all the time about being right and wrong, but sometimes it is. So motivation. People seem to think that motivation is the key to accomplishing your goals. If they wake up in the morning, they want to start a workout program and they just don't feel motivated. They think, well, I can't do it. I must not want it bad enough, or there must be something wrong with me, or I'll wait till I get motivated and do it. And I got to tell you that is the worst thing that you can think. That's the worst advice you can give to anybody, that you should feel motivated to go to the gym. You're not going to feel motivated all the time. You're not going to feel motivated all the time to go to work. You're not going to feel motivated all the time to sit down at your desk and do some of the boring things that you need to be doing. As a matter of fact, probably most of the time you're not going to feel motivated. Motivation is not relevant at all to accomplishing a goal. That's not what you should look for. Motivation is an emotion, all right? Just like happiness, just like sadness, just like anger, all those are emotions. They only exist here, and they're temporary. You're not going to feel those emotions 100% of the time. Something happens and you get sad, you deal with it, you cry, you get, however you deal with your sadness. And then eventually, depending on, how big of a thing it is, if you lose, I don't know, a piece of jewelry or something, you get sad for a little bit and you get over it. Something bigger happens, your loved one passes away or something like that. It takes longer, but it's still, you don't feel that sadness forever. Even something as intense as loved one passing away, the sadness still is temporary. And if it, I don't want to get into other things, but if it's not, then you need to seek help and maybe talk to somebody about it. But it should be temporary. Motivation is the same way. Motivation is an emotion. It's a temporary thing. You feel motivation if you listen to a podcast, for instance. You feel motivation if you listen to a motivational speaker. Obviously, if they do their job right. You feel motivation if you watch a Nike commercial or a commercial about some sports, and you see somebody out in the rain running when nobody else would do it. That can make you feel motivated, and you think, all right, I can do that. I'm going to get up in the morning, 6 o'clock, and go to the gym. Well, what happens when 6 o'clock in the morning rolls around? You don't feel that anymore because that emotion was temporary. You felt it by some stimulus, changing the chemical makeup of your brain for a short amount of time, and then it's over. You're not motivated anymore when it comes down to it. So if you're expecting to be motivated and you don't feel that motivation, odds are you're probably just not going to go to the gym. Now, from my days being in sports, and the sport that I was in the most intensely was Taekwondo. Started when I was 6. Competed heavily in my late teens and in my early 20s. I got fairly good. I didn't make it to the Olympic team. I competed with the guys that were in the Olympics. Did pretty well. As much as I loved Taekwondo, and a professional football player or basketball player, anybody you talk to, their passion for the sport is palpable. You can feel it when you're around them. I bled Taekwondo. I ate, slept, breathed. From the time I woke up in the morning until the time I went to bed, I was thinking about how can I get better at Taekwondo? What different things can I do? But even then, being that focused on Taekwondo, I didn't always feel like working out. I didn't always feel like going to the gym and doing my 1,000 kicks. It's not fun sometimes. A lot of times it's not fun. But you have the bigger goal and you do it anyway. So what makes you do it anyway when you don't feel like doing it? The alternative to motivation is discipline. Discipline is what you should be focusing on. Discipline is what makes you do something when you don't feel like doing it. When the motivation goes away, when you feel that temporary burst of wanting to do something, and then when it comes down to it, that temporary burst is gone, you have to fall back on your discipline. That's what gets you to the gym when you don't want to go. That's what gets you to put those donuts in the trash and eat your eggs or your rice or whatever your diet is. Discipline is what you need to focus on. And especially to you people out there that are new to working out, new to trying something different and trying to make big things happen. Don't rely on your motivation. All right. Motivation is great. It feels good. But it's not something that you can rely on. It's not something you can trust. It's not something that is going to be there when you're actually going to need it. Discipline is what you need. Discipline is a skill. Just because you don't have the discipline to do something right now doesn't mean you can't develop it. And you don't want to jump in to something new too fast, too quickly. If you're new to working out, you don't want to go to the gym and step to the squat rack and load a couple plates on the bar and think you're gonna do great. That's gonna kill your motivation immediately, and likely kill your discipline too, because you're probably gonna hurt yourself. You're not gonna want to do that again, and no matter how motivated you feel, your knees are gonna be blown out. So, if you're wanting to step into the gym or whatever else you're wanting to do, start slow and write down the things that are working. Write down the things that aren't. And even if you're brand new and know nothing about it, work with a coach, work with a mentor or something, and try to figure out a plan. Write down the plan. Make sure the plan is well thought out, and that's where your discipline starts. Discipline starts with a plan. The people that know me know that I am not a guy that naturally likes to plan ahead. I kind of fly by the seat of my pants. which is good sometimes. You know, if shit happens that's unexpected, even if you have a plan, some people shut down when their plan doesn't go right. That's where I thrive. But I still know the value of planning ahead. I hate to be cliche, but the saying is, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. That is right. As much as I as much as I hate that, it is true. And the planning and the writing down goals, that's how you start to build your discipline. When you have those things written down and you need to go to the gym or get up and do whatever you need to do, you look at those things, and when you don't feel like it, when your motivation is gone, you look at your plan, and that's what you execute, no matter what you feel like, no matter what your emotion is at that point. Even if you're sad, mad, angry, whatever, your discipline is looking at that list, looking at what you need to accomplish that day, and getting out and doing it. That is going to serve you way more than relying on a temporary emotion or relying on when you feel like doing something. Now, one of the reasons that I know this is because I have studied successful people. My favorite types of books to read are success stories, people that have started with nothing and grown a business to beyond what anybody's expectations were. The one thing that I've seen, the one common thread that I've noticed among all those people is discipline. You know, you read the books and you hear somebody saying, things were tough. I didn't think I could do it. Money was tight. I had this failure. Obviously, they didn't have temporary motivation. They weren't relying on the temporary motivation, because when things get tough, your motivation it's gone. It's going to abandon you, and you're going to be left with whatever other emotion is going to fill that spot. It's probably going to be a negative emotion too, sad, angry, scared. But if you have good discipline, those emotions are ultimately irrelevant. They don't matter. If you know what you need to accomplish, if you're scared to do it, you're going to do it anyway. If you're mad about it, you do it anyway. That's your discipline kicking in. That's where motivation is going to be long gone. You can't rely on it. You have to rely on your discipline. Now, conversely to that, if you look at somebody that doesn't have discipline or had it and lost it, for example, somebody that's successful might get into drugs, alcohol, gambling, whatever, ends up losing everything. You see stories like that all the time. There's sports stars that have a massive fall from grace because ultimately it's because they lose their discipline. I'm really not going to call anybody out for that, but I'm sure that you can think of a couple people that had everything going for them, had a real successful business, was on top of their game in the sports world, and they lost their discipline and they lost everything. It happens all the time. Just because you have discipline doesn't mean it's an automatic thing. You have to constantly work it. You have to constantly be able or be willing to do the things that you don't feel like doing, that you don't want to do. A lot of the stuff is not fun. Success is a tough road, no matter what you're doing. If you want to be on the top of your game, you got to get through some of those very uncomfortable, not fun situations. And if you're relying on motivation to get you through that, you might as well quit now, because it's not going to be there. It's not going to help you through those tough situations. Now, getting back to what if you don't have discipline, or what if you don't know how to build your discipline? As I said before, discipline, it's a skill. It's something you can learn to do, just like any other skill. Just like driving a car, riding a bike, learning how to deadlift. It's a skill. You can work with somebody who is a coach if you're working out, or if you're going into business. Work with a mentor. Figure out those things that you need to be doing. But when it comes down to it, it's really up to you to actually do those things. A coach is going to show you the way, but they're not really going to be able to push you and make you do something if you don't want to do it. You can find somebody that's like a drill sergeant, and get you a little bit further than what you normally would. But if you don't want to do it, if you're not willing to force yourself to do things that you know you have to do, a coach is not going to help you. you're going to be wasting money, wasting your time and wasting their time. And it's really not going to be a good situation. So you have to develop your discipline. You have to be willing to develop your discipline. Developing your discipline is, it's not rocket science. I alluded to it a little bit before. You write the things down that you need to do and break it down day by day. If you work with somebody, they'll be able to tell you what you need to do in the morning, what you need to do in the midday, what you need to do in the afternoon. Write those things down. When you look at the first thing that you need to do, don't even think of how you feel about that. If you know that's what you need to do, how you feel about it cannot be more irrelevant. It shouldn't even come into the picture. Getting back into working out, because I think that's the most direct example that I can give that most people can relate to. You wake up in the morning, you need to go to the gym, but your body might not feel like it. You might be maybe you didn't get enough sleep the night before. Maybe your diet hasn't been good and you're feeling kind of sluggish. Doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. None of that matters. You can't get into the trap of starting to find reasons not to do it, because if you find a reason one time, you're going to find a reason again. Your mind is going to start working against you. You're going to be able to talk yourself out of doing something. So don't even go down that road. You look at what you need to do. You know what you need to do. You just go and do it. Most of the time, 9 times out of 10, when you're first starting out, working out, anything, the first few weeks are going to be the worst. You're going to really have to fight with yourself to get to do them. That's when your discipline really has to be on point. That's when you're developing your discipline. You're honing your skills. You're sharpening the knife. And once you get that knife sharpened, then it cuts a lot easier. All right. Once you get several weeks, a month and a half, whatever, into working out, and you start seeing some results, you start feeling a little bit better, then it gets a little bit easier. You don't have those conversations in your mind as often to try to talk yourself out and find a reason not to do it. You're still going to. Anybody that's accomplished anything knows that once you get through that initial period of trying to develop the habits, trying to get rid of the awkwardness of whatever new thing you're doing, that it does get easier, but it doesn't become automatic. It doesn't become something that's fun all the time. It should be fun sometimes, and it shouldn't make you miserable, but it's not going to be something that is going to be so fun that you're going to feel that motivation every time you do it. That's just not reality. Don't think that once you start doing something that it'll just be so fun. You'll be looking forward to do it every single day. That you won't have to ever force yourself to do it. You're gonna have to force yourself to do it. You're gonna have to use your discipline to get to the gym. You're gonna have to use your discipline to get to the office. You're gonna have to use your discipline to maybe not have the cookout that you wanted to have on a Sunday afternoon and get into your office and film a YouTube video or do some social media marketing. That's the type of things that you have to do. And relating these back to sports, obviously, I've been using working out as an example. That's one of the relations to sports, the lessons that I've learned in sports and how it relates to the rest of my life. In Taekwondo, when I would have to go to the gym and do hundreds or thousands of kicks or do my plyometrics or any workout that I was doing, sometimes I was, I felt the temporary motivation and I didn't have any of those conversations in my head to try to talk myself out of it. But a lot of times, there's a lot of pain involved. There's a lot of, it's hard sometimes. And if it's a nice day outside and you have some family time coming, you really, your mind is going to say, man, just skip this one day. It's not going to make much of a difference in the big picture. Spend time with family, go out with the friends, have a couple beers. It's not going to be that bad. That's when your discipline has to kick in, and you have to say, what am I trying to accomplish? what do I need to do today to get me just a little bit closer to that goal? And then you do it. Don't let that voice in your head try to talk you out of what you know you need to be doing. So from being in Taekwondo and knowing the value of discipline, that has really helped me in my business today. Starting Atlas Menswear, I started the business in 2020, March of 2020. I'm sure I've told this story on other videos. That's right, actually the day before everything started shutting down for the COVID pandemic. I was launching the company at the Arnold Sports Festival in Columbus, and that one was canceled because of COVID. I had prepared for it. I was in Columbus already. It shut down. So obviously my emotional state was not great. I was frustrated, mad, angry, whatever emotion you want to insert in there. I had felt it at some time, but that didn't matter as far as getting in and doing the things that I needed to do to help grow the business. The business really hadn't experienced any growth. I had 0 sales at that time, and I just knew I still needed to get to work, put the emotions aside, use the discipline that I learned from being in martial arts, knowing that it's temporary. I can get through this. Being in Taekwondo, it's a full contact sport. I've been blasted in the face before by some of the best kickers in the world in the first round, and it's not. You can't just walk off and say, "Oh, I'm done." That just doesn't happen. You have to get through it, use your discipline, and fight back and try to win. You're there to win. You're not gonna just give up. You have to work through whatever pain and adversity you have, and that starts with your discipline. And with Atlas Menswear, there's been ups and downs so far. I've had really great times and really tough times, but falling back on that discipline that I learned from being in Taekwondo, from experiencing the adversity that I had felt a lot of times in Taekwondo, getting kicked in the face, having injuries, pulled muscles, you learn how to work through it. You have been there before. You understand that you can get through something like this, and you just keep going. And that's what you have to do. And all that starts with your discipline. So if you have questions about discipline, or if you have any other thoughts about that, please leave me a comment and have a discussion about your experiences with discipline and experiences with motivation too, and what you think about what I said. Is motivation trash, or do you feel differently? I'm going to wrap this one up. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Watch for the next videos. I'm going to be doing some more of these. Once I get this camera situation figured out, once I view this video and see how it looks, maybe I'll just do it this way. Maybe I'll fiddle around with it and do some other things. But I'm going to wrap this up. I appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you here again. Thanks.